Today we're starting our next topic, which is called quadratic expressions. So when we're talking about a quadratic, we're looking at algebra where we may have squares with the variable. So it might be we have an x squared, or it could be an a squared. So one of our variables has a square on it. When we talk about a binomial, the name binomial, bi meaning two, nomial meaning two numbers. So a binomial is an algebraic expression that has two terms in it. So it could be something like x plus 4. It could be something like a squared minus 5. It could be something like b plus c. Okay, these are all binomials because it's got two terms that are added or subtracted. Now what we're doing today is we're going to look at expanding binomial products. So it's like we're taking two of these things and we're multiplying them together. And what we want to do is work out what the expression looks like when we expand these. Now, just to start off, we have expanded expressions before, and usually we've looked at things where we've got a number and then a bracket. So what we would do with that is we'd take that number and we'd times by everything on the inside. If we have two lots of brackets, we need to find another way to solve these. So here's just a really quick rule about how this would work. So if I've got two things in one bracket multiplied by two things in another bracket, basically it comes out to be this. Now how we can prove this is I'm going to take a plus b, c plus d, and how we can prove this is we can break up one of the brackets with one of the, we can break up a bracket by expanding and we leave the other bracket as sort of like the pronumeral. So say for example, if I take this as the one item, I'm going to multiply that bracket by each of those terms. So what that means is I'm going to have a times c plus d plus b times c plus d. So what we've done there is it's kind of like if I go aside, if I had a plus b times x, then when I expand that out, I could write that as ax plus bx. But instead of just having a single pronumeral, we've actually got a bracket that we're expanding. So that's what we've done here. What we then do is we take the a times by the inside of that bracket and the b times by the inside of that bracket as well. And then so what we end up with is AC plus AD plus BC plus BD, which is the expression that we had up above. Now, one way to look at it is as breaking up brackets twice. Another way that we go about solving these is what's called the FOIL method. So FOIL stands for the first, outside, inside, and last terms. So basically, it just tells us what things we're going to multiply together in order to get our expansion. So if I start with F for first, the first value means that we take the first two numbers in the bracket and we multiply those together. So if I take A times C, that'll give me the AC. Outside means I'm going to take, when I'm looking at the four letters together, I'm taking the first and the last ones, so that's your outside, and I'm multiplying those together. And you can see there's the expression there. So A times D is AD. When we do the inside, so outside was the two on the outside, what we then do is we multiply the two on the inside together. So that's the B and the C, and that's where your BC comes from. And then what we're going to do is take the last numbers in each of those brackets, so that's the B and the D, and we're going to multiply those together, and that becomes that last term. So it's just a really quick way of working it out. If you prefer to do it as brackets, you're welcome to do that too. Alright, let me move that away. And let's do a couple of questions. So with these ones, we're going to expand the following binomial products. I'm going to do it using both methods just to show you how each of them are done. So when we're looking at this first first question, what we're going to do is we're going to take y plus 7 and we're going to times it by each of those things in the first bracket. So it's going to be x times y plus 7 plus 4 times y plus 7. If you went the other way, you'll still get the right answer. So if you chose to take this bracket and times by each of those items, you'll still get the same solution as if you did it the way that I've done it. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to expand that out and expand that out. So then x times y is xy plus 7x. 4 times y is 4y plus 28. Now, when you look at each of those terms, there's actually no like term, so we can't simplify it, we can't combine anything together, and so we leave our answer like that. If you choose to use the FOIL method, here we go, FOIL. So we're going to take the first numbers, we're going to times those together, so that's xy. Then we're going to do the outside. X times 7 is 7x. Then we're going and doing the inside. 4 times y is 4y. And then your last terms is 4 times 7, which is 28. So you can see, you can sort of get straight to the answer rather than having to write out an extra step. Let's have a go at the next one. So again, what we're going to do with this question is I'm going to take this bracket and multiply by everything in the first bracket. So that's going to be p minus 2 plus 1 lot of p minus 2. So when we expand these brackets separately, so that with that and that with that, p squared minus 2p plus p minus 2. What we can then see here is that the 2p, negative 2p, and the plus p are like terms, so we do need to combine those together. So that turns into p squared minus p minus 2. So negative 2p plus a p is equal to negative p. Now this expression here is actually a special type of expression. We're going to do a lot more with this. This is going to be a really big focus in this topic. This is actually called a trinomial. Okay, so think we talked about binomials before. A trinomial has 3 terms in it, and this is a special trinomial that we will be working with. If we want to use FOIL, so I'm just going to get rid of that. FOIL, we're going to do the first numbers, times those together, p squared. The outside, going to times these ones. Now p times negative 2 is minus 2p. Then we're going to take the inside and multiply those. 1 times p is positive p. And then your last terms, 1 times negative 2 is minus 2. So again, from there we need to simplify p squared minus p minus 2. So you get the same answer using both methods. Question 3 and 4, I'm going to just stick with the FOIL method. I think that's probably the easiest one to work with. If you want to use the bracket method, you're welcome to do that too. So for this question, in order to work out our FOIL, we're going to take the first numbers, multiply those. So 3a times a is 3a squared, times plus the outside. 3a times 8 is plus 24a. Then we're going to multiply the inside. Negative 2 times a is minus 2a. And then your last term, negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. From there we can find our like terms. 24a and 2a are like terms. So 3a squared plus 22a minus 16. That'll be your expansion. Let's go again here. So the only things that are different here is that, we've put numbers in front of the pronumerals. You have positives and negatives as well, so just be very careful with your pluses and minuses. So first terms, 2f times 5f is 10f squared. Outside, 2f times negative 3 is minus 6f. Then we're doing the inside. Negative 1 times 5f is minus 5f. And then your last terms, negative 1 times negative 3 is plus 3. So again, like terms are in the middle. So then we've got 10f squared minus 11f plus 3. So be very careful with your signs when you're collecting those like terms. They're both negative numbers, so you plus the numbers together. It's still negative. This will take a fair bit of practice, but once you get good practice in, then every time you see one, you'll be able to do the expansions automatically. So here's some questions for you to work through. See how you go.